raising awareness through every track. All-Star P Sportscast on the rise, shouting loud, reaching the skies. Can't stop, won't stop, our game is strong, fighting Parkinson's all day long.
Welcome everyone back to, actually I love saying it, but the second episode ever in history of the All-Stars PD Sportscast. I'm a co-host, Sharon son George. Along my side is Tim, my PD party, and my brother in this fight for a cure through sports. And we'll be talking as usual about slowing the progression. And today's big topic is one of my favorite, like literally I sleep with this. Basketball. So we'll be doing this. I won't be twirling the ball though. I can't do that. But I can hit some threes. But I really excited to be with you again, Tim. And so much happening in the world as far as progression and slowing it down. As you know, big time athletes we'll talk about in the future are coming kind of, I don't like saying out, but worldwide public with the new news, unfortunately, that they have Parkinson. But we fight by their side for awareness and how important sports is to really make people more aware. And we use this platform just to educate people, but also we learn so much about all these topics. So again, let's have you kind of kick off the show with something really important. And that's an individual we both kind of care a lot about, even though he might not know us, who unfortunately has Parkinson, but represents the National Basketball Association.
Hi guys, how are you? What is shaking? First, I got to say I am embarrassed because your getup is so much nicer than mine. You came prepared. I am more of a hat guy, but I got to tell you,
I also have my LeBron.
you're making us look good as always, brother. I appreciate it. You're carrying the torch here.
I wish I could leave it on the show, but it's too big. Size 15.
Oh, unbelievable. So yeah, I mean, we spoke about in a prior podcast. It's important that when the people who, I'll call them celebrities or athletes or people with the spotlight on them, when they have been unfortunately diagnosed with this disease, a lot more people can listen to them than they're going to listen to you and I, unfortunately, because they have that name recognition. And, I think today we're going to talk a little bit for a couple of minutes about Brian Grant, who started his own foundation after he was diagnosed with Parkinson's. Tremendous NBA player, played for my team, the Lakers. He was a tenacious defender, rebounder. NBA all-rookie first team in 1995. I mean, if I could cheat there and just look at my notes for a second. I've seen some interviews with him. His story is amazing. He has a tremendous book out. And, somebody like that, he gives you hope. Like the Michael J. Foxes of the world, when they come out with foundations and they're trying to do all they can for therapies and a cure and anything that they can do to help this community, it's big time stuff because, like I said, they have the spotlight on them and people will listen.
I'm going to share that while you kind of talk a little bit more. I actually, ironically, didn't realize Mr. Grant had a book, and I ordered it yesterday. So looking forward. I might be a little late, but it's important to support him as heal and supports the Parkinson's community. We're kind of sticking to basketball just because it's my love and passion. And Tim, we're going to try and cover a different sport every show. But as you also know, there's some big things happening in the Parkinson's community. We're not going to get too into it till the football episode, but Brett Favre kind of announced he has Parkinson's, and he gave a message on behalf of our entire show, which we'll play in the future. And also just announced a day or two ago, Kirk Gibson Foundation now is kind of opening up an entire Parkinson's facility, and I have a meeting with them, which is going to be exciting. So when we have that baseball show, hopefully we can maybe get them on the show too.
That would be awesome.
If Mr. Grant's listening, we'd love to have you, even if we have a basketball show part 2. But I think someday we would really be honored to have him. I've had the beautiful foundation on my show, but having him, his representatives too, on our show would be a lot of fun.
We're going to get him. Trust me. He might have been a tenacious defender, but I'm pretty tenacious myself. He's not going to be able to resist me. We will get him on this show.
Well, I'm lucky because I was a big fan of him when he played for my favorite team, which was the Portland Trailblazers growing up until finally Clyde Drexler, Terry Porter, Jerome Kersey, Duckworth. We made it to the finals. I was a little kid eating little pizzas, and Michael Jordan just completely wiped out the team. Wiped out my favorite history of Larry Bird, which I'm representing today.
There you go.
Also Clyde Drexler, the guy, there's nothing like him. But, I love these shows with you because not only do we get to kind of forget the world for a little bit, but for mental health, I always bring up so important to play sports. I played a little today, which wasn't smart due to my issues, but I still hit 4 threes in one game. So that's the problem. Like I wish I stunk, but and I never play again. But maybe you could talk a little bit more. I know you touched on it, but about Brian Grant. I mean, this is his website too, everybody, the foundation. If you have time, please support them. BrianGrant.org. Again, I never had the opportunity to meet him. Some incredible warriors out there with Parkinson's have. He was at some of the past World Parkinson Congress events, and I even heard he helped them break down some of the tables, which was really nice. So he's really a down-to-earth guy. I haven't had the opportunity to meet him. I hope someday I will. I'm 6'2". I look like a little shrimp probably near him.
I got to tell you, I didn't have not had a chance to read his whole book, but I've seen snippets of it. I've seen interviews with him. It's truly amazing when you see somebody in the celebrity world. Like, again, he's a celebrity to us because he is a celebrity, but again, means more to the sports fan, I'm sure, than most people. But the way he found out, I mean, I believe that his story is that he just literally fell one day while playing with a teammate and lost complete sense of his leg, which led him to get further and further tests, which is actually how he found out he had Parkinson's. But going through some of the snippets of the book, it's crazy to think that somebody like me who suffers from this disease, sometimes you just feel like you're alone in your symptoms and how you're feeling, and then you read it, you read his story, and I mean, he had a tough time. I mean, this disease does not discriminate. It can affect anybody, and he had the same symptoms I had. The depression, the feeling like there was no hope in sight, and there is. And you and I could tell everybody that all we want, but sometimes when somebody with a voice like Brian Grant or a Michael J. Fox, Muhammad Ali's daughter, people that have a spotlight on them or that have a voice, they can be that calming voice for us people who suffer and caregivers as well, to know that you're not alone. And it's important that these people get into this community and embrace it.
Yeah, we really need athletes and sports people out there to join our fight and the show, not just to promote us, because this is all for educational purposes only. We don't accept money. We do donate to the Michael J. Fox Foundation. We'll mention your incredible event coming too. I want to mention that every show. It's just, amazing how important this Parkinson's community is and all the things that they also add. I'm kind of a little sad but happy, but when Brett Favre provided that video, like you have too, I put it on TikTok. I thought it would just kind of get a few, likes. I don't get too many. I get like 300, which is amazing enough. I'm happy with one. Guess how many his video somehow, I don't understand how it works. How many his video has had?
You're up there.
Over 500,000.
It's amazing.
I just I don't understand how that all works, because usually after you post a week or two, it kind of goes bye-bye, but it's still like getting likes. I don't get it. So, I love again to bring Mr. Grant on, but I do want to say how great their mission is and their foundation. They offer many, many resources. Some of the same people hopefully listening to our show and sharing this actually have spoken on the podcast that they also provide. I know Amber is out there. She's a big part of the Brian Grant Foundation. I've interviewed so many from their kind of advocates and their own individual representatives who are amazing to come on the show. But the Brian Grant Foundation, then we'll move forward, empowers people impacted by Parkinson to lead active and fulfilling lives. They believe in mind, body, and spirit. And again, one thing I just like a lot or love about them is that like you said, Michael J. Fox fights. They fight back. They don't kind of live privately like they can or may. Instead, they really want to give back. And I guess my biggest hope again is that someday you get to meet him, because I know I might not have Parkinson's. I was a caregiver, my best friend mother who passed due to it. But if he had come in my life, or even yours now, even through FaceTime, I think it would just kind of change all our lives forever.
It truthfully is inspiring, and not to. I know we're going to talk about the Brett Favre video another time, but just to give it a quick second, because you and I made mention of this privately, how sad and dejected he looked. Because again, I've been down that road. I know what it's like to just find out and have your world turned upside down, and to not know what's up or down, and not know what the next step is. So, people forget these guys are humans too. They might be athletes, they might be celebrities, but again, this disease does not discriminate with anybody, and these guys feel the effects of it. But again, the hope is like the Brian Grants of the world, that they step up and use their platform for great purpose and hope for better things along the way.
Yeah, I always say I hope, but I think we're a family in the fight. Me and you just teaming up is changing the world because I've been getting so many comments saying how excited people are for the show because I wasn't aware that sports helped. You know, my mother was battling Parkinson's. I don't think at that point she would have been able to kind of play basketball or things like that in her late 60s. But so many of the young onset like yourself are out there. It's growing, unfortunately, in a way. In a way, it's great though, because we have this great community. I hope I'm a part of it, but I love all the individuals out there. Someday we'll have to have a show, maybe in the holidays. We'll just bring about like 5 or 6 of our
Yeah,
friends, like Adam, out there, just all for one, say a nice holiday message to everyone.
great
But
idea.
I think we'll move on from Mr. Graham, but I hope you're listening. We're going to tag him, and I would love to have him someday on. Really, again, we're all in this together. We don't want anything but everyone to be aware. And I hope this show that we're doing together, although it's just the second by episode 100, reaches these professional athletes and so much more, because I think it's a lot of fun, but a great time. And as you know, I mentioned, hopefully in the future, we might have Mr. Bernie Kosar on, which would be beautiful. He's an NFL legend. Only thing is tough is the timing. So we're gonna both Tim and I will still work on that one. But if we could get a lot of the athletes, anyone out there know anyone, please let us know. I actually walked by Lisa Leslie the other day. She's actually a neighbor of mine. I didn't want to like go up to her and bother her, but I think now I might. And she doesn't have much with Parkinson's, awareness, but maybe she wouldn't mind. I also walked literally by one of the Morris brothers from the NBA. He
Oh,
also
wow.
lives in my, I didn't want to, I don't want to walk. If I was a kid, probably would have ran up to him, but now I think I would approach him if I see him again. He's walking down the street. You can't miss him. He's like 7 feet
Oh,
tall. And he would have, I think they all would come on the show. We need, some of them. So now I have a reason to I drove by, I took a picture, and I just didn't want to bother him, but it's time. We need to bother everyone to
yeah.
get it, find a cure, then I'll do, me. So,
Now you've got some homework to do, my friend.
so now I wanted to shift a little. We can both talk about it because it's important. This is actually an individual who's become like family to me. Parkinson's is not an easy topic. It's one that touches my heart. Some of you might know that I have had my own struggles, but this is more important to me. And I just, it sounds a little grim for Halloween, but I just paid a lot of money to have the actual, the Parkinson's logo, the tulip. It's going to be, we're only allowed 2 photos or like logos on your gravestone. And I decided this will be one of them. So it's paid for. It'll be in color. But no matter what happens to me, I'm going to still be fighting even from the other side till we find a cure. Hopefully we don't need that, but I'm still in my mother's memory. I'll be doing that. But this is Bill. He's a friend of mine. He has Parkinson's disease. And the reason I found him was through the Parkinson's Foundation. They share a lot of beautiful stories. I've shared mine. But I discovered him, and the thing that was so cool is he really combats the progression through basketball. And I've never seen. We might be, talking about basketball, but I've never seen someone so, kind of using the sport of basketball to help progression. If you're on X, I think, or some of the areas that Bill is on, he's very big on Facebook. He's very active too in the Parkinson's community, but he actually puts videos of him playing basketball. It's really cute with all the older guys. And, he's not a youngster like anyone. And like, I'm not even, but it's really incredible to see him still running out there. It's not always easy. He said he's able to keep up some days and some days he's not, but I love him. I have a few other friends. Gary is another one out there. He's actually written a book on basketball, but more of the coaching side. And his father, I believe, has Parkinson's, and him too. So there are individuals out there, but our job, I think, with this show and platform is to kind of bring them out to the forefront because I don't think anyone's alone, but really seeing his story was beautiful. If you do have time, everyone go to Facebook, look up Bill. You'll see him. He actually puts his action videos on the basketball court. I don't want to play without his permission or being here, but I thought this story for basketball inspired me.
Well, you know what it is too, George. It's. I mean, listen. They preach when you have this disease, you have to stay active. I would think something like basketball because I know the way it makes me feel when I get a chance to get to the fitness gym and play it a little bit on my good days. It's you're getting your heart pumping, you're moving, you're using all parts of your body. I mean, even a layup, you're raising your arm. But don't underestimate the cognitive side too. The dribbling. I'll dribble in between my legs, and left, right, and do things from the left and from the right, and it keeps your brain moving and functioning, which is very important as well.
Yeah, I told my wife, even though, 3 or 4 back surgeries, might need a stimulator, I was just told now I might need a new plate in my back, which I'm not too happy about. I'm gonna wait a while, but I still went out and shot a little, hit 4 threes in a game and everybody was going crazy. I mean, I'm not like I used to be, I can't even play defense, but just being out there is like mental health, awareness month and year for me every
Well,
day. And there are weekends I can't do it, and it's kind of like a little depressing, to be
well, I mean, do they even play defense in the NBA? Don't worry about it. I don't think
honest.
anybody plays defense anymore.
That's where it's a great shift to the next topic, which I'm really excited about. And that's why we broke out the basketballs and the sneakers. These are old LeBron, but that's all I can fit into because I'm size 15. But, and in case you're wondering, I'm 6'2". Tim, how tall are you? You're tall too.
I'm 6'3".
All right. So he's bigger than me. I'm a little guy near Tim. We'll have to be in.
I'll tell you one thing though about a big man, and before we shift to current NBA, I'll just tell you a brief story because I just wanted to highlight again, not to preach the same thing about how this disease doesn't discriminate. One of the best meetings I had, and I'll just take a brief moment on this. My idol growing up was Magic Johnson. I loved him. I've always loved athletes that always want to inspire people and make people better. I mean, he had a smile that would light up a room. And when there was my world was ruined the day that I found that I sat there and I watched it. He contracted HIV. So I never met the man. I spent, I want to say, $180 to get his autograph because he was going to be at an autograph show about less than a year after announcing that. I was so excited. I was nervous. I was crying in line, waiting for this man was my idol. I get up to the table, and he signs this beautiful picture that I had that brought. And I said to him, I said, Irvin, I got to tell you, you are my idol. Can I shake your hand and take a picture? He starts tearing up. He goes, you would shake my hand? I said, of course. I said, I love you. He said, do you mind if I come around the other side of the table and give you a hug? He literally stood up from the table, stopped the line, embraced me for it probably was 30 seconds, but it felt like 30 years. We both started crying. He was just so happy that somebody, I guess, wanted to touch him, that wasn't afraid of what was going on. And it just goes to show you, it shines a light that, again, I know they make the big bucks. I know we know them as these godlike figures, but they're human beings too. Don't forget that.
I love that story. And actually, I had the honor to, and we want to share Tim's picture and mine, but photos on this thing is difficult. Maybe someday we'll put it in a PowerPoint. I think we should.
Yeah.
I had the honor when I was in college, I was a sports writer, and it was the best thing because it got me front row inside to all the different athletes. And I had the honor to interview Shaquille O'Neal when he was with the Orlando Magic. So he was sitting in the locker room half naked, and I was there like shivering because I was scared. He was like the sweetest guy back then, even in his young years. And just is an incredible, and I also got to cover the Miami Heat when Alonzo Mourning first started, and that was I was in the actual closed practice with the Heat back then, and
It's amazing.
beautiful moments. But I'd rather use all these for awareness. I had the honor to meet Michael J. Fox. It was a Comic-Con event where people go more for comic stuff, but I used the event literally only for Parkinson's awareness. So I have a feeling Tim and I are going to have to make some either virtual trips or live to some shows and try and meet some of these big time athletes to get them all on board. I mean, it doesn't matter if you have, like me, you don't have to have Parkinson's to advocate for a cure, I think. So I think we just need to somehow reach these individuals. We do need everyone listening's help. It's not always easy. I've sent letters to several major organizations. 2 of them got back rejected in the mail because the address isn't even good. So I don't know how the national sports addresses aren't valid. They're all up to date, but that'll move into our topic now. Again, we're kind of covering we are basketball, but just for the legal aspect, because I'm an attorney and I'm also representing Tim here. This is not being copyright used. This is fair use for only educational purposes, and we don't plan on selling or making anything or having advertisers. You never know, but then we won't use it. But did want to share the NBA.com, one of my favorite areas. Get the app. I have all league pass. I only watch LeBron James, not for political reasons, but I grew up basketball fan. I stopped watching for 10 years just because I don't know if life happened, but I'll never forget. I think I told you the day all of a sudden I was just flipping through, and all of a sudden this young guy, LeBron James, hits a half court shot against the Spurs, although they got wiped out in the series in the NBA. That shot changed my life because after that, I never missed a game. that he played ever. And it's not about personality or his beliefs. It's just about watching him as a player. He's going to be 40, which is still sounds so young. And his son now joined them. Now we can get into that another time. I don't think, I think that's a little odd because he's my height. So, and he's not that very well rounded, but maybe he's new and I'm curious to see what was going to come of Bronny James, but maybe you could give your take on the excitement of the NBA. Today's still preseason. I'm just really, I kind of go in withdrawal if there's such a thing from basketball because it was off season.
I get it. I completely. I love the sport. Like I said, I'm a diehard Laker fan. You know, I grew up with the Magic Johnsons and the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars of the world. I then shifted to your guy Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe. I think was probably just a talent like we've never seen before. I mean, he's certainly up there on the level of Michael Jordan and obviously LeBron James. And even being a Laker fan now, you know, I got to say, you know, you bring up LeBron James. Everybody talks about him how, oh, he's 40 years old. He's just holding on. He loves being in LA. He's picking up a massive paycheck. Well, don't forget what he's doing at this age is unheard of. People forget. I mean, this man, like you said, is going to be 40 years old. And he's still an all-star. He almost led the league in scoring last year. He was close. I mean, this is not a guy that's mailing it in anytime soon, you know. And like I said, now his son's coming on board. I mean, who gets to say that they played this great game with their son? I mean, that just doesn't happen, you know. And he's a phenomenal talent. You know, they say the kid is an awesome defender. You know, obviously we'll see as time goes if you know if he's as good as his dad or half as good as his dad, which would still be an all star. But I'm looking forward to this season. You know, as a Laker fan, I'm excited. Um, Being here in the New York, New Jersey area, while the Knicks have always had a tough time. I mean, they're making some moves. They just got Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, to go with Jalen Brunson. I mean, they got a good team, you know. So I always think that sports in general, especially the NBA, is always going to be good when these big markets are good because that's what people know. I think it's going to be an exciting year.
Yeah, I've been lucky because I'm from Brooklyn. I lived there I did my 18 years, I say. Well, I went into law enforcement, but I remember being in the Garden, Madison Square Garden, seeing Michael Jordan and Patrick Ewing going at it, John Stark. So I got lucky to kind of grow up and be able to be there live. I'm in trouble because when I'm not a Laker fan, just to make it clear. I'm a LeBron fan. There's a big difference. I follow LeBron anywhere. I didn't even like the Heat when he was here in Miami. We did see him. Well, I have a funny quick story. I don't want to get too lengthy, but we saved up. We're so excited to see LeBron, Wade, and Bosh play together. So we spent a lot, which we shouldn't have, to get second or third row. I've never done. We started, my wife and I, dating. We sat at the upper tier where we couldn't even see anything, but it was still we were at the game. Well, we finally splurged, got these tickets. I was so excited. A week before the game, I think Bosh got really badly hurt, so he was out. Then they said the night before, since the playoffs were coming, they're benching LeBron, which I never heard of. Thank you, Spoelstra. And then finally, after the first play, Wade jammed his finger and sat out. So I sat there the whole game staring at Mr. James's back of his head, and my wife and I said, "We're never going again." But we still
So
lost.
that was probably a $400 ticket. It was worth about $40 by the time you got the gate.
But I'm just, anyone listening out there, I hope you can recommend your favorite team. I'm not sure when Mr. James retires, who I'm going to follow. I kind of do like watching the Knicks I don't know if it's the colors or the excitement, but it's going to be interesting. Their big star that now went to Minnesota, Randall. I don't know how that's going to work out with the players there. So, because Anthony, he likes the ball. Yeah, Edwards and
Ball dominant.
it's going to be very, I think, could work or tricky. But as you know, and we've seen as a nation, whenever all these players start teaming up, doesn't mean you're going to win at all.
Matter of fact, it usually doesn't mean you're going to win.
What a disaster in Brooklyn, and that's where I'm from. So
And,
I,
and
I didn't have a team.
you touched upon LeBron James. I mean, think about this. I mean, like again, I know we're talking about basketball, but like you know, you always say, "Oh my God, I wish I could have seen Babe Ruth in his prime." People forget LeBron James. We're seeing Babe Ruth in his prime. I mean, one of the greatest things in my life I could tell you is sitting in my man cave watching a Lakers game at 10:30 at night with my son, who's a diehard Laker fan. Those are memories I'll remember forever. Um, you know, with his great grandchildren when they're here, we could talk about how we sat and watched the greatest player live of all time. I mean, it's truly amazing what we're witnessing out of him.
Yeah, luckily, like you said, I got to see that with Michael Jordan. I try to explain who he is to my kids, but they don't. But this is a great show because also we don't have to do this once. Every season, every year, we can start over with basketball again and talk about different aspects. So it's going to be exciting time, and we kind of touched on it, but remember the main core and reason for the show, everyone, is about slowing the progression to Parkinson's disease. And I think we should throw in the word again, mental health, whether you are a caregiver or someone with Parkinson's. I know it's not always, my mother is funny. We have videos still. She used to shoot basketball and like the little kids one. She made
Yeah.
like 10 in a row once and we have it on video. Should have played it, but it's like,
Wow, that's
those
awesome.
kind of things, they bring the families together, and even
Sports, sports has a way of doing that.
even if you're arguing or politics, you forget it all when you're all, and you could argue about this, sports, but it's a lot more kind of fun and you're not going to be down. I hope some houses you're actually wrong, but
Exactly.
so, that's what the summary of this show is. Again, it's an honor to be with you, my friend, and talk
Likewise.
about these great topics, really about progression. I dream one day of having Mr. Grant on or some professional sports basketball athlete to also really touch on how we can make change, because the show isn't really just about, I think, us talking, but it's also bringing change, getting everyone listening out of your chair, get a ball like me. I mean, I'm not a trainer, but you just throw it to yourself for a minute. You can do so many drills. You can walk around the backyard, except now we're getting another hurricane in Florida. I just heard. So it's enough that we have a hurricane team and we don't need an actual one. But, there's so many things with just a ball you can do if you have, Parkinson's. Tim can also advise if you reach out to him. Please support him also, my PD party everywhere. You can follow me at togetherforsharon.com, but I don't really, this is more about the All-Star PD Sportscast with me and Tim. I just honored. I'm so glad we thought of this, and I'm just excited already for the next show.
I couldn't agree with you more, my man. This is such an honor to be doing this with you. It's great to think of what we're doing and the great cause that we're doing it for. And again, I got to bring my A game next time. Look at,
You gotta get with the fur. Look at this.
I know, I know.
Maybe
Look,
next time I'll just have me the shoe and not me.
I'm more of a hat guy, but you know what? I'm gonna have to get some. I got to
Funny.
get my game on.
I'm excited because I just ordered one hat for each sport, but then I realized there's like 500 sports. So it's gonna, but eventually I think I'm gonna be going with my beautiful All-Star PD Sportscast, the bus
Soon
hat.
enough. Absolutely.
Is there anything else you want to kind of touch on, or before we wrap up
No,
sports?
I think that we did a nice job here today as far as highlighting the importance of multiple things: mental health for sure, the importance of when these celebrities come to the forefront and do what they can while they have the microphone and the platform. And again, I'll say this every time we talk: movement, like you said, basketball. Get out there, even if you're sitting in your chair, just bouncing a ball. Cognitively, it keeps you thinking. It keeps your brain moving. It keeps your brain sharp. It keeps your limbs and everything from tightening up on you and your muscles from tightening up. Movement is medicine. It really is. So that's part of the reason why we're doing this.
And I agree 100%. Remember, everyone out there, the NBA season just getting started. Contact your local companies. Make sure you catch it. We'll definitely be watching and look forward to the next show. This has been second episode of All-Star PD Sportscast with your host, Tim. Follow him at my PD party. And I'm George, Sharon's son. You can find me anywhere out there advocating. And remember, this is what it's all about. We might have some fun today, but when it all, comes down to it, we both want a cure, obviously for Tim, for you, and for everyone. And remember, my mother and all those we've lost due to this disease. We still have so much more fight left in us. And actually, just to let you know, I don't know when we'll cover the boxing, but as long as a hurricane doesn't come through South Florida, I had the honor to be invited with my wife ringside to a big organization called Punch for Parkinson's. I don't know if you know Mr. Ryan Roach. I recommend everyone to go online at Punch for Parkinson's, research him. When we get to the topic of boxing, I'll talk a lot about it, but he's become a friend of mine. He's a firefighter in Boston, and his father has Parkinson's and lost him and dedicated his life now to awareness, but it's going to be a literal boxing match. It's so cool. I've never been to a real, I'm going to come live with the video and Instagram, but probably be chaos. It's going to be like Michael Buffer probably be screaming. But I think that's another, I mean, I'm not into I kickbox and did martial arts, but I'd rather not get my face punched in right now. I have enough.
You have dealing with the weather. Let's just thoughts and prayers are with you for that and everybody affected for sure.
That'll be fun. That we should really, if I had the hat, the sports, the All-Stars PD sports class by then, I'd be wearing it live there, but I'm going to be promoting our show at the event. Someday I'd love to see our logo, and at some of these events too. And before we kind of head off, because we went a little over, can you please, very important, more important than the show, talk a little bit about your incredible event? Please, everyone, support Tim and the Michael J. Fox Foundation. We love them, but we love Tim for stepping up and really now kind of bringing the All-Star PD podcast to reality, and through his My PD Party to have an event. I've not been able to do events just because of my back and timing. I rather help support incredible events like yours. So anything I can do and going live at it, will do. But maybe you could touch on, and everyone please support Tim.
Absolutely. So what we're doing with we're teaming up with the Michael J. Fox Foundation and Howell United Soccer, which is where my kids have come through the ranks to be the talented players that they are. November 22nd through November 24th, Soldier Memorial Park in Howell, New Jersey. We are hosting the first annual Central Jersey Fall Classic, which is going to be a youth soccer tournament, 3 days long. It's going to be the best of the best. So come on out, show what you have. It's going to be like nothing you've ever seen before. Even if you've been to a million soccer tournaments, we are going to have a kickoff concert Friday night. We're going to have awesome skills competitions. We're going to have all kinds of local vendors there promoting their businesses. And again, it's for bragging rights. It's the best of the best. But at the end of the day, what it's for mostly is to bring awareness and funding for this disease for the Michael J. Fox Foundation. So anything we could do, we want to do. By all means, follow us here. You can follow me at my PD Party for constant updates on that. Any way that you can donate or be a part of it, we greatly appreciate it. But again, it's for a good cause. We're bringing awareness to this disease and hopefully to find a cure in my lifetime.
Thanks. I mean, I will definitely add that too, hopefully to our notes when we're putting this on YouTube. And when we have a soccer show, we'll highlight the whole event too, unless it's after. But even though I'm sure you'll do it every year, I hope.
Sure, absolutely. That's the game plan.
I need Mr. Michael J. Fox. If you're listening, we're going to call. This is a live sports show. We're going to call everyone out. We need you on the show to support Tim. As they know, we've done it about 10,000 over the last few years to the Michael J. Fox, and this year 3,000 to Team Fox. So anything we can do to support you and all the amazing things they do. I mean, I would love them on the show, but no one has really a sports division. The Parkinson Foundation actually has a group that are runners. It's like a whole big thing on Facebook. We'll have to talk about if we ever had a running show, maybe we can have them on, but I do not see much for sports, and that's why this is so important.
I agree.
So thanks you, my brother, for joining me. Thank you all for listening. Please share this. I feel, even though it's episode 2, when we get to 10, 11, 50, this is going to start going like high, but it's not high wire or something, but like really share around the world. I think it's going to get bigger and bigger. Who doesn't love sports, and also be able to reduce any disease, and not just Parkinson, but I think this slows many neurological diseases down. I know we're having exciting news. An individual, Tim, is going to be on our show, physical therapy, which is very critical, and that's the love of the show. We need guests occasionally, because I think from the experts, hearing it from them too, is going to be very exciting and give some information that you can also take back at home and also use in your life. So it's not just aimless talk about banter about sports. We're hoping to also, promote some important tips and things that you can take, and so many exciting things, but I'll try and not talk about those, but I see some important things coming in the forms of books and things for our show. Very, very, very exciting, and they'll all come true. It just takes time. And I just want to thank all our listeners. Please share this. Really need to make awareness for the show, and then we'll go from there. So thanks again, Tim. Thanks everyone for listening. We send our love and support. And this has been another episode of All Star PD Sportscast with Tim and myself. Please stay tuned. We'll see what topic we're going to hit next. What do you think, Tim?
Love it. Anything. I'm up. I'm game.
Maybe we'll get to football or hockey. We'll see. So many sports. I'm just learning. So anyway, thanks everyone. We love you, and we'll see you soon.
Guys, take care.